The Heisman Trophy ceremony, a coronation for Colorado two-way star Travis Hunter, winning college football's most prestigious individual award. He had 14 receiving touchdowns, 4 interceptions this season. First player in FBS history to do that. Hunter was the overwhelming favorite to win the Heisman, with Ashton Jeanty voted as the runner-up. The Boise State running back leading FBS with nearly 2,500 yards on the ground, 29 rushing touchdowns. It is Travis Hunter, the second defensive player ever to win the Heisman, joining Michigan's Charles Woodson in 1997. Hunter's the second player in Buffs program history to win the Heisman. The late, great Rashaan Salaam won the award in 1994. As you take a look at the voting results, Travis Hunter, 552 first-place votes. Ashton Jeanty, 309, followed by Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward. Travis Hunter winning the Heisman Trophy. And for more, welcome in two-time national champ Damien Harris and CBS Sports college football writer Tom Fornelli. Damien, I know you loved Ashton Jeanty this season, and he's kind of like the people's pick to win the Heisman, because clearly the voters, they went with Travis Hunter. What do you make of the decision and the voting results?
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Travis Hunter. I mean, he's been a phenomenal player all season long, and I think that he was deserving to win this award. But I think a huge injustice was done to Ashton Jeanty, and I fully thought that he was the Heisman Trophy winner. I thought he was the best player in college football. When I look at statistics, I think Ashton Jeanty has better statistics. He's first in every single category that he's a part of. Travis Hunter is not. When you look at what they have done for their team, what they've meant for their program, Colorado didn't play for a conference championship. Colorado's not going to the conference or to the 12-team playoff. Boise State is. They're the third-ranked team, going from a G5 team in the first year of the 12-team playoff system, and they're ranked as the number 3 seed. And I think what's really, really unfair about all of this, to wrap it all up, is we have compared Ashton Jeanty to arguably one of the greatest running backs that has ever graced the game of football, in Barry Sanders. All year long, people have said if Ashton Jeanty breaks this record, he wins the Heisman. So you mean to tell me the fact that he's about 200 yards short, like I mentioned, he's got an opportunity to still break the record going into the 12-team playoff as a number 3 seed, and we're saying with 30 touchdowns and 2,600 total yards, almost 50% of Boise State's total offense, again, the third-ranked team in the college football playoff, you're saying that's not good enough all of a sudden? I don't think it's fair.
Nope, it's not. It's not good enough, Tom, because this is something we've never seen before. It's a two-way player. This is the Shohei Ohtani of college football.
Yeah, I think Travis Hunter is greatly helped out by the uniqueness of who he is as a player, in that we have seen guys in the past play on both sides of the ball. Charles Woodson did it. He won a Heisman. Desmond Howard played on all 3 phases of the ball for a time. He ended up winning the Heisman. And then there was Champ Bailey, who played defensive back for Georgia, but was also used as a wide receiver. What we have not seen is somebody play on both sides of the ball nearly every snap all season long and be as prolific as Travis Hunter is, where you look at the numbers he put up as a receiver. He's one of the best receivers in the country. Won the Biletnikoff Award. You look at what happens on the defensive side of the ball, he's one of the best defensive backs in the country, if not the best defensive back in the country. And he doesn't have incredible numbers on that side of the ball, but not because of him, but because other teams aren't dumb enough to throw the ball in his direction when there are other guys they can test on that Colorado defense. I think when you just look at the kind of unicorn nature of what Travis Hunter did, it's not a knock on Ashton Jeanty, because everything Damien said about Ashton Jeanty is correct. He's a phenomenal player who had a phenomenal season on a very good team, and in a lot of years, he might have won the Heisman. The problem is this year, he ran up against something we just haven't seen before, and I think that was what really, in the end, swung the votes in Travis Hunter's direction.
Damien, were you a bit surprised that Dylan Gabriel was third and not Cam Ward?
Not very.
Okay.
I think that the way that he's played consistently year in and year, or not year in and year, but game in and week out, and the fact that he's been a solid quarterback on the number 1 team in the country, I think that he deserves some first place votes.
All right, so you like the fact that Dylan Gabriel was third in the voting, but you do not agree that Travis Hunter should have won the Heisman. You're still staunch on Ashton Jeanty, even though the trophy says the most outstanding player in college football.
Well, I think that when you say the most outstanding player in college football, you have to look at stats. I think you also have to look at production of what your team, how your individual success impacts the team. And again, Travis Hunter, he is a unicorn. He is special. I could point out a lot of things that I could argue and say, oh, well, this is the reason why Ashton should have won it over. At the end of the day, he is a special player. He won it. But I've been the president of the Ashton Genty fan club all year, and I'm not going to fall off that bandwagon now. He's still the best player in college football in my eyes.
Tom, remind me the last two Heisman Trophy winners, they didn't go to the playoff, did they? And I granted it was 4 teams, but Jaden Daniels last year didn't go to the playoff. Caleb Williams didn't go to the playoff. So when we talk about team and helping your team, it's not an MVP award. It's not the most valuable player to his team. It's the most outstanding player in college football. And look, I love Ashton Genty. I think he's going to be a great pro, whoever drafts him. But Travis Hunter, we don't see this every day. His 14 receiving touchdowns, 4 interceptions, those numbers have never been achieved in FBS history. So when you talk about that, you'd think, Tom, that the voters are going to go, well, hey, I voted for Travis Hunter this year, because a lot of times voters don't necessarily watch all these games, and they just watch the games that are in prime time. They're not watching all of the Mountain West football. They're now watching Deion Sanders, which certainly helps Travis Hunter in this case because he's got Coach Prime.
I don't doubt for a second that helped Travis Hunter's case with a lot of the voters. Didn't really impact mine because I watched both of them play all season long. But it's just when you look at the situation, I'm actually kind of surprised because you mentioned, Jaden Daniels didn't reach the playoff, neither did Caleb. I thought in this 12-team era that we would see more of a consolidation of Heisman winners to where getting to the playoff might almost become a requirement in the minds of some voters. And I think we saw a reflection of that a little bit in the fact that Ashton Genty got as many first place votes as he did, because just based on, straw polling my friends and fellow voters, I did not expect Ashton to get as many first place votes as he did on the final results based on what I had been told from other voters. So I was surprised to see it. But I think, again, at the end of the day, most outstanding player, most valuable player, whatever way you want to go with this, as long as Genty or Hunter were the first name on your ballot, I don't have a bone to pick with anything you did. I think you had a correct vote. I just think more people had Hunter as their number one.
Damien, you played in the NFL. And you look at Travis Hunter, and let's say you became a coach on an NFL team, and your team drafted Travis Hunter. What are you doing with him?
Whatever he wants, because he's shown that he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to play the offensive side of the ball, he can do that at a high level. If he wants to play the defensive side of the ball, he can do it at a high level. Do I think that he can continue the snap count at the NFL? No, because those are different athletes. Those are the best of the best in the world. So I don't think he can play it at the same capacity. But do I think that if he plays both ways and splits time and keeps it within a respectable snap count, I absolutely think he can do both. And he's shown that he can do both. And he hasn't been quiet about doubting the haters who have said that he can't do it. Called out Richard Sherman. He's called out a lot of people by saying, people don't think that I can do this. I can do this. So if I'm a GM, if I'm a head coach, and I spend that high of draft capital on this unicorn that we've gotten that we haven't seen before, well, thinking business-like, well, I'm going to try to squeeze out as much of that talent as I can. So I am going to use him on both sides of the ball, because not only am I using high draft capital, but if he's somebody I want to keep on my team long-term, I'm going to have to pay a high premium knowing that he wants to play both positions. Well, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you're going to do. You're going to play both ways.
But are you concerned then about injury then if you're playing him that many snaps?
Well, that's why it has to be within a respectable amount. I think playing him 130 snaps at the NFL level, I don't think that that's possible. I think if you can split him up and give him about 80 plays both ways, 90, maybe even 100, I think that he could, do that at a consistent level, and then based on matchups. Because let's face it, the NFL is all about matchups. So if you go into a week where you've got a star receiver that you've got to cover, okay, we're going to play Travis more snaps on defense. Or you're playing a team that doesn't have as strong of a secondary, okay, we wanted him to make some hay on the offensive side of the ball. So I think it's going to be matchup based, but I think somewhere between 80 to 100 snaps might be that sweet spot for Travis in the NFL.
Tom, give you the last word here. If you started your own agency, the Fornelli Talent Agency, and you're representing Travis Hunter here, what would you be advising him when he goes to the NFL?
10%, Travis. I want 10%.
No, you're not getting that. You ain't getting that. Tell him, Damien, he ain't getting that.
Nah, no shot. No shot.
I mean, I think talent-wise, Damien hit it on the head. He can play both sides if that's what he wants to do. And if I'm putting him on my team, I want a guy with that kind of talent playing as much as possible. But I think just based on where he is right now as a prospect, I think day one, his first day at an NFL practice, he'll be one of the best corners in the league at that point. He's incredible on that side of the ball. He's got excellent tutoring from Deion Sanders, his coach the last 4 years, who've certainly played a role in that. But I also think he has the talent to be a great wide receiver in the NFL as well. I just think he needs more work to round out his game in that facet, whereas right from day one, I think he's a shutdown #1 corner for just about every team in the league.
Well, Travis Hunter wins the Heisman Trophy, a 214-point gap. That's actually the smallest gap since 2009 between the first place and the second place winner, or the runner-up rather. Ashton Genty is the runner-up. Travis Hunter wins it, but it wasn't a landslide. But hey, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Travis Hunter wins the Heisman Trophy. Damien Harris and Tom Fornelli here on CBS Sports HQ. Men, thank you.
Appreciate it, Heath.
And hey, for all things college football, check out the Cover 3 podcast. Host Chip Patterson, joined by Tom Fornelli, Danny Cannell, Bud Elliott, as they take you from National Signing Day to the National Championship with in-depth analysis. Every week during the season, you'll get picks against the spread. We are in bowl season with the college football playoff coming up next Friday. They'll get you set for that. The Cover 3 podcast. Download and follow today.